Hello, good evening, you guys. I decided to hop on tonight. My fruity pie is gone. My juky fruit. Ooh, oh, that was the happiest. When my daughter, that made me so happy. And I love her so much, but y'all know, I get tired of her. She talks and talks and talks. And her mom got her spoiled. Her mom and her daddy. They don't make her do nothing she don't want to do. And y'all know I can't have no disobedient babies to tell me no. Okay. How's everybody doing? We're going to talk about finesse two times and domestic violence and some more stuff. What's up, Diane? What's going on? Hmm. Y'all know what I got a taste for, and I'm. Hey, Tyranny. I hope you had a good holiday. Y'all know what I got a taste for, and I'm gonna make some tomorrow. Homemade guacamole. I got my limes. I bought some cilantro. I gotta stop at the store tomorrow and get some but I might have. I want to dice up my tomatoes. I really don't buy tomatoes like that because I don't really care for tomatoes. I don't really care for tomato. Like I grew up eating tomatoes. My grandma used to grow them, but the way I eat tomatoes is real country. I take a tomato and cut it in half and eat it with salt and vinegar. Put salt on it and dip it in vinegar. That's how I eat tomatoes. I don't really like it on burgers and stuff like that. Diane said, just relax. And Diane, tired. Diane done been busy. Hey, M. Rose. Hey, Joy Loves God. She said, I absolutely love tomatoes. Now, I will buy fried green tomatoes. Like sometimes I may have a taste. Um, and I just started eating fried green tomatoes since I've been grown. I used to would not touch them, but um there are certain places that have really good fried green tomatoes, and if they have a dipping sauce that they whip up really good to dip it in, I might get it. But I think I like fried pickles, and I just started eating fried pickles since I've been an adult. But I just started like I started eating when I think I've already always eaten fried okra because my grandma used to make fried okra, but she liked the boiled okra more. I didn't like that boiled okra; it was slimy. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. I'm sure everybody did. You know, it's a good thing that that's over. I'm glad I got all of those gifts and stuff up at my house. I overdid. I got my grandbaby so much stuff. Oh, and I was so tickled pink because I got her a lot of little jackets and stuff and coats with Minnie Mouse and Daisy. And so I got her a jacket with the Daisy's face on it, and it has sequins on the arms. And when I pulled the jacket, I said, "Look," she said, "Daisy." Oh my God, it just melted my heart. And she was so happy to put it on. She said, "Daisy." You know what? I saw Blackwood News was out yesterday. She said, "I love okra anyway. I get it. I don't like boiled okra." Well, I've eaten it. I would eat it with My grandma used to make it with, it's weird the way we ate breakfast. Like she would make salmon croquettes, biscuits, and sometimes she do boiled okra. My grandmother used to do like poke salad, and I thought poke salad, it tastes like spinach, but it was certain parts of it that you could eat because I think it's poisonous. Parts of it. Um, and she would do spinach, and it would be so good. She would chop up an onion and put an egg in it, like put an egg in it, and I guess you know, I don't know, in the okra. I mean, in the spinach. I promise you. And she seasoned it. It would be, oh my God, that was the best spinach and poke salad. Oh my God. I'm gonna ask my mama how to do it. I got some spinach in there. I'm gonna make me some real good spinach. She made that for breakfast. Like you eat that with bacon. My mother's biological father had a farm, so they killed hogs and stuff. So we always kept plenty of fresh bacon and stuff. That's why I know this bacon now don't smell or taste good. We had real good bacon straight from the hog. Oh Lord have mercy. My mother's so passive. When my grandfather passed away, they had all that land down there in Mississippi, and so his wife called my mom and then was like, well, I mean, you want to come for the reading of the will? And my mom was like, well, she's so passive, I guess. My grandfather left them all that land. He built, his house on it. She was like, well, it was weird the way it happened because his wife she's still alive. She has a house on the land. So his wife was like, well, I don't know what to do. He left her the money. It's weird. He left them the land. And my mama said, well, the lady 80 something years old, I would never put her out of a house. I said, I know you. I wouldn't do it either. Although some said they would. That would be so evil. Oh yeah, my grandma used to make those crackling. Um those cracklings out of that hog skin. I believe it's the hog skin. Oh, yes indeed. Those were the good old days. Anyway, y'all, I wanted to talk about finesse two times. Hey, Cycly. I wanted to talk about finesse two times, and I actually have a really like an inspirational message for finesse two times, really. And even though finesse and them are hilarious, they're hilarious. I want to talk about the Lion King star was unalived by her boyfriend. I guess I want to come from um, talk more about the domestic violence part of it, like what I've been seeing go on with domestic violence lately, really on both ends. And then I want to talk about the importance of voting. And I got a video I want to show you all at the very end, okay? But let's talk about finesse two times, okay? We saw when finesse two times when finesse two times King was living with finesse. Hey, I for one, we all did. We didn't think that King should have been with finesse. A lot of people were saying, well, finesse took King from off of the street, and um he took him from off of the street and all of that. But now, later we hear that King was smoking weed and all of that, and people was like, well, he was already smoking weed. Me for one, I think King was like 9 or 10 years old. I never believed that he should have been with finesse because finesse lives a fast life. Okay, finesse does not even have his own children with him because of his schedule and his fast life. I did not I think that King has been overly exposed, and he's a baby. How old is King now? Is he 11 or 12? Regardless of whether he's 11 or 12, he's still a baby. Because earlier this year, I believe King was saying he was 10, so he's probably 11. He's been overly exposed to too much. We saw um, celebrities playing dice with him, like Moneybag. We saw Big Juke playing dice with him. We saw all of these people that have children playing dice with him. And I don't think they would have dared um, did allow this to go on with their own children. And so what they did was they exploited him. Although I do at this point believe that Finesse did have some type of love for King. I do. I just never thought that he at that time. I never thought that he should have been um with Finesse two times because King needed to be with someone that was going to, hey, Micah Velli, um hey, Rochelle, King should have been placed in a home where he would have been allowed to be a child in a healthy household, right? That's something that King has not had. That's something he hasn't had, and it's so unfortunate because it breaks my heart when you hear King say, when he reached back out to Finesse, he was like, I'm getting older, I gotta make this money, I gotta pay these bills. What 11-year-old should have the burden or be thinking about paying bills, right? You got what's the man name that wear the red braids? Hustle Cartel had him at some point, and it was strictly to get at Finesse to get all the information out of King that he could, you know, um, to have leverage, you know, um, on Finesse. And with King being a baby, I was listening to Finesse say one day that um, King is a child, and I heard Sugar in the background say, "Well, he know better. What Finesse? That's gonna be Finesse gonna have to get rid of Sugar. If he's going to heal, he gonna have to go to a root doctor in New Orleans. He gonna have to go. He gonna have to go in the backwoods because see, she went down in them country towns where them folks been doing. See, in New Orleans now, I think it's a lot of new age hoodoo women. She went in the backwoods and got a root. Okay, he gonna have to go get a root doctor to break it, or he gonna have to go up in a church and go to the altar and stay up in there. He gonna have to go on Mondays. He gonna have to go on Wednesdays to prayer, and he gonna have to be up in there on Sundays. And they gonna have to pray and break that root up on him. And he gonna have to go ahead and get away from her because she got one on him. Because what I could see is, even though she has children, and yes, King knows better from a standpoint of a child. I don't care how old King is, his brain is not developed. He knows better in terms of, well, you got kids and they know right from wrong. But he is still a child. His brain is not through. Sugar got all them kids, and she ought to know that. Okay. And so Finesse two times. Y'all know I'm all over the place. Hold on, let me sip my coffee. Cause I'm trying to get better. I was getting ready to act up, but the Holy Ghost put me back on track because this is an inspirational message. Okay, so when I pause like that, that be me trying to keep something from coming up. Okay, for me to act out. Hold on one second, you all. Let me pull this up. see. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Um, let's see. What is it called? One Father. Is it called? What's this page called? One Father. I think Cypress know what finesse pay. Let me see. One Big Father. That's it. I think. Is it One Big Father? That's him. So I'm glad I screenshot it because I think he took it down. Let's see. He took it down. I'm glad I screenshot. I hope. So Finesse addressed King saying that he was on drugs. Okay. He finesse I mean he took it down just that quick. He spoke about he addressed King saying he was on drugs. Now I think King said that a long time ago. And Finesse said, it's funny because you're the reason that I'm on drugs. He says, you're the reason that I'm on drugs. I mean, that further. Hold on, let me see if I can go all the way down. Yeah, he took it down quick. Um, that goes to show right there that it definitely had an effect on him because I think Finesse thought with King being a child, um, I think it hurt him because he let King get close to him. We know that Finesse is institutionalized. Okay, um, he don't trust nobody, but he allowed King. Most institutionalized men don't trust nobody. Okay, that's why we know Sugar got a root on him. Okay, and I think he's aware of the root. Okay, so that's why his guards is down with her. But I think he had let his guards all the way down with King. And I think he felt coming from a standpoint of King being a child, this is somebody that, for some reason that he could trust. And what he don't understand is King is a child and he was consistently and probably is still in a position where he's consistently being manipulated because I was looking at a video a few weeks ago and he was out to eat with Hustle Cartel. And the first thing Hustle Cartel does is go live and want to talk about Finesse 2 times with his sis ass. Lord, oh God, I mean, look, Lord, please forgive me for saying that. But I be hating it when these grown men, okay, um, like to exploit children. And so you could tell when he went live and he started talking about Finesse and King was sitting at the table wanting to eat. King didn't say anything. You could tell that it made King uncomfortable. It made him uncomfortable. I think Hustle Cartel should be ashamed of himself now. That tells me Hustle Cartel got a wife. I never would have known that. I never would have even thought that until somebody said it, but that don't mean nothing. I mean, most of them got wives. Okay. And so he's probably, I ain't gonna go there. Lord, I'm not gonna go there. But I hate that Hustle Cartel does this. Whatever his issue is with Finesse 2 times, I think he's exploited King enough. King is still in the same position that he was in before. Okay. He says that, when he went live recently, he said that he's having the same things that he was having when he was with him. They say that he's with his father. I hope that King is in a healthy environment, because the thing about it is, why wasn't he with his father to begin with? When they say he was hanging out all night shooting dice before he went to live with Finesse, right? What was his father at that point? So it makes me wonder if he's in a healthy environment, because he wasn't with his father at first. Most men, when the mother, there's something going on with the mom, and we see what kind of issues that King family has, then the father steps in if he's around, to try, or the father's family or something step in to try and help the child or take the child. At this point, they're saying he may be with his father, but I do know a few weeks ago, King went live talking about, he wanted to get this money with Finesse. He wanted to, let go of the past. Kid, you could tell he's a child because, if I was Finesse, I would never touch that again either. Finesse definitely started going down after that. Um, I think leaning to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Leaning, um, I guess, to drugs to try and, as a painkiller, okay, of some sort. I know that a lot of celebrities, especially entertainers, they're up under a lot of stress all the time to stay relevant. They have to try and outdo themselves each time. And we've talked about how I feel like, they set Finesse up from the very start. Finesse has a distinctive sound. When Finesse came out, Finesse was doing really good for himself, and everybody wanted a piece of him. He was definitely set to surpass Moneybag Yo. And hey, they, I'm as I've always said, they set him up, so that they could control him. As Stan G was saying earlier, what did Stan G say? They set a ceiling for him. Therefore, they wanted to control how high. If I'm saying that right, they wanted to control how high he went. And so I think that, coupled with a whole lot of stuff, and I'm not saying that Finesse is the best, because Finesse is definitely a mess. Okay, he is. I think he's flawed because of he's institutionalized. But hey, I don't think that he's been able to handle the snakes and stuff. I think the music industry, the group of people that you see in that music industry, is even worse than the what he had to deal with probably in jail, because these are corporate snakes. Okay, so their venom is way more deadlier because you're dealing with more money. They're like anacondas. They will swallow you whole. Unfortunately, I feel like this is what has happened to him. Now, I think that he can redeem himself, but at what point? Because I'm sure Finesse is tied up in all types of contracts. Okay, I'm sure he's tied up in all types of contracts where some people are going to be getting residuals off of him for a very long time, unfortunately, right? So, but as far as him and King, to see him posted, for him to say, "Funny, you said that you're the reason that I'm on drugs," or something like that. Hey, I can believe that. You could tell that it hurt him, and I think they called CPS on him. He kind of went through a whole lot dealing with a child that was not his, okay, and really never should have been with him, okay, especially with the type of stuff that he had going on, with the different women and all of that in that household. I just don't think that it was a healthy situation. But I always say, I'm rooting for Finesse. I am rooting for him. I hope that Finesse can get back on track and get himself right. It's not Sugar's job to do it. Okay, so I'm not trying to put that at Sugar's feet at all. As far as like Finesse 2 times, being on drugs or anything like that. I'm not saying that it is her job to help him to turn that around. But as his woman, I don't think that she would be vocal about helping him to turn it around. I think that she would more so go along to get along. She'll give him that final, um she'll give him whatever is needed to stay around. Okay, to be useful. So I don't see her being strong enough to say, baby, you need to get yourself some help, or nothing like that. I don't see her being strong enough to do that. I think she'll help him to feed that habit, because number one, feeding that habit coupled with that root she got on him helps her to be in control more. Okay. So that's why I say, and I'm not saying that Sugar is a bad person. I don't think that she is. I just don't think that. I think that Finesse is such a flawed human being, and which, people with flaws, they can fix that. He doesn't want anybody around him that um, is, that goes against anything that he may want, even if it's hurting him. Okay, because a strong woman would tell him, "Baby, you got to go to the rehab. Baby, you got to go to the rehab." Okay. Anyway, y'all, I also wanted to talk about, but shout out to Finesse. I hope Finesse get his stuff back right mentally. It's a mental thing. Like I said, with all the hits that he has taken, and he had a lot to do with some of it. You know, a lot of it. Well, bad decisions, but like I said, I do want to see the brother um turn his life around. I do. I want to see that. And get back on top. And he can do that. He can do that. I think at this point, what Finesse should be doing is using his money to try and get with somebody outside of the princess, outside of anybody, and get with a entertainment lawyer. Okay, not just with any old lawyer, because a lot of these lawyers don't know nothing. I'm gonna tell y'all know I told y'all I used to go with Gangsta Pat, right? Gangsta Pat was when Gangsta. I'm gonna tell y'all a story about this. Gangsta Pat, when he was he was the first um rapper in the Memphis area to go to sign a major deal, right? So Gangsta Pat was 14 years old when that happened. Okay, he was at Hillcrest. Gangsta Pat had written all his music, you know, um, before he ever signed with anybody. Um, and so when he signed a major deal, y'all know who he had as his lawyer? Anybody up in here from Memphis? Do y'all know who he had as his lawyer? And he was not even a entertainment lawyer. A.C. Warden. AC Warden was sitting up in there. He said that all he know is they brought AC Warden up in there. They said that he was a lawyer. AC Warden didn't know a damn thing about contracts. Okay, AC Warden has been a defense attorney his whole life. Y'all know he was the worst mayor in Memphis. He messed Memphis up here. You know he gonna mess up Gangsta Pat. And Gangsta Pat signed, helped that boy, the record company bamboozled him. He was already 14 years old, so he was a child. He didn't know anything. Coupled with you get a quack like AC Warden to come and sit off in a meeting. You think you got your lawyer. He telling you, yes, it's good. He didn't know the language. It wasn't no he was a damn defense attorney. And see, that's what a lot of people don't understand, especially when they don't know anything about business. If you're gonna get you a lawyer with these record companies, you need to get you a entertainment attorney. They already know how to read contracts. Make sure they've been an entertainment attorney for a while. I got an entertainment attorney because I have to have, especially for my production company. Me and my dad was going to her when we first started getting, and I started reading up on it. It's funny what you can find out when you're reading. Hell, that was 10 years ago. I told my dad, I was like, Dad, we need some contracts. And we don't need an entertainment attorney. It was hard to find an entertainment attorney in Memphis, and I found one. And because Art Horn was not even listed as a entertainment attorney, okay. And Nikisha She wrote up all of our contracts and stuff. She wrote up the NDAs and all of that for us. And she ended up, now she's in family law. Even though sometimes if I need a contract or something written up, I'll reach out to her. Is you and I asked her, I said, why did you get out of entertainment law? She said, because entertainment attorneys don't get a lot of work. I said, why not? Memphis is like the hub. Memphis is like the hub where all of this talent and stuff is. And I mean, you would think that you would be flooded. She said, well, that's it. It's a lot of talent in Memphis, a lot of rappers and stuff, but they don't understand how that they need an entertainment attorney. They don't understand it. She said so. She more so she's in family law now, but she still knows entertainment law. She still keeps herself up on contracts and all of that. But that's a sad thing. So that makes people think that Art Horn is the only entertainment attorney, but it's weird because I never knew Art Horn to be an entertainment attorney. He always did criminal law. Okay. He always did criminal law. So I don't know if he even advertises himself as a criminal attorney. Well, as a CMG lawyer, I guess he just helps them to get up out of jail. Okay. Whew, Lord help me. I'm trying to stay on track tonight, y'all. Okay. I was getting ready to say something else. I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna say that for another time. But yeah, finesse 2 times to get him an entertainment attorney that to help that knows about the industry to help him to learn. He needs to take some classes. Okay. He needs to take some classes on business. If he ain't got his diploma, this will be the good chance to get his sugar. Go online and see how he could take them GED classes. Okay. Yeah, do that. While he got that game stick in his damn hand, he needs to be trying to figure out how to read some stuff. Okay. And then get you somebody that's going to teach you business. So at some point he can start negotiating instead of going into a depression and getting on drugs. He can start getting with people to help him to negotiate up out of them damn contracts they got him tied up in. See, people get depressed and get on drugs when they feel like there's no out. There is always an out if you know how to work it. But unfortunately, as Black people, we have codependent personalities. We have not been taught on how to deal with stuff. Okay. So what we do is we'll, a lot of times go get on drugs and stuff like that, have nervous breakdowns because our minds and brains and stuff be overstressed. But finesse has a way out. All he needs to do is take his money and go do something useful with it, the little bit he got left, and then start to build from that. And then while get off the drugs, start investing in real estate. Get him. Don't ask the princes about, yeah, man, I want to know who you use for real estate. They done screwed him over already. Why would you want to deal with somebody hell that they use for real estate? Research who some good real estate people are, and then learn about investments. You supposed to already know about the product before you go to the damn table. I ain't never gonna go sit at no table with nobody and I ain't studied nothing. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened years ago when I decided, I was like, dog, I started learning about insurance. I think I'm gonna go get my insurance licenses. Okay. I started learning about insurance. And so I was like, I need to go ahead and get some insurance. My dad was like, you need to put some insurance on me. I'm glad I put some insurance, And so my dad was like, you need to put some insurance on me. And I started thinking about, I want to leave something behind for my children. So what I did, I started researching. I was sitting at work. I was working at the sheriff's office. I started researching about insurance, all of the different types of insurance. And I started learning about term insurance, whole insurance, all the other insurance. I briefed myself on it. So when the insurance agent got to my house, I remember he made an appointment. He came to our house, and the first thing he tried to do, I read it. They said I was reading it. The insurance agents will try and get you to get term insurance. Okay, they try to get you to get term insurance, and that expires and charge you basically the same thing. Okay, when he got there, that's the first thing he started talking about. And I was a lot younger then. That's the first thing he started talking about. I said, oh, okay. I said, what about whole life insurance? He said, what you know about that? I said, I know with whole life insurance, it does not expire. That's what I want. I want whole life insurance for myself and for my children so that no matter what age I die, my kids gonna get some money. Okay. He said, it sounds like you've been doing your research. You damn right. He wasn't gonna come and sit there and sell me something, and I wasn't gonna know about it. I told him what I did the research and was able to tell him what I wanted. Okay. And once you let people know that you know a little bit about something, they won't try to bamboozle you with everything. Okay. And so that's what finesse need to do. Hold on one second. Let me see what this is. Okay. Okay. So that's what finesse needs to do. He needs to research. He could go take an investor's class, take a real estate investment class. Because if one thing ain't working, everybody go through seasons. Finesse is a fan of the show. Okay. I know he a fan of the show because I looked at my Instagram one day. And it's hard for people to find me on Instagram because it's Real Talk with Tamara, WIT. And I was telling Jessica, Dime Piece how to find me. And when she requested my friendship on on Instagram, he did too. I looked at it, said Big Father is Finesse. I said, Lord, Finesse, he's a fan of the show. I ain't mad about that. Because we talk shit up in here. I talk shit about him sometimes, but I still want to see him win and stuff. And so anyways, but that's what he needs to do. He needs to take an investor's class. He needs to invest his money in something else until his season come back around and he learn the business and get off drugs and go down there to the backwoods of Louisiana and get that damn root that Sugar got on off of him and go get in a damn church. Okay. And put some pepper down. Okay. Finesse, put some pepper down. My grandma used to say, my grandma was married to this guy. My grandmama married this guy when she was 22 years old, I believe. And he was in his 30s. His family was down there in New Orleans. And my grandma said they moved to New Orleans. And she moved to New Orleans with him for a little while. And his mother used to sell voodoo. She used to sell roots. And she said when she was living there, it was because my grandma grew up in a Christian home, and she said she would see that lady and them folks would come there for the roots and stuff. That lady was mixing up for them, and then she said she remembered the lady, her first mother-in-law, saying that if a person got a root on you, to put pepper down in front of your doorstep. Okay, put pepper down in front of your doorstep. I used to always hear him say that, so you might need to do that, Finesse. Put some pepper down. Okay, Sugar. Sugar get mad at me now. She probably know I know a little something. My grandma did say that. Her first mother-in-law said, "Put some pepper down," and they won't be able to come in the house or something. But what Sugar done did was she done went and got a sock. And I was listening to, y'all know, on YouTube, you got all these people that deal with that stuff. That's got all these different pages. I was looking at this. I was up late one night. It was a person on live that read cards. I went in there in the room to see what they was talking about. And so this guy was saying, what you need to do is what you do now. If you don't want him to leave you, you go get a plant, a real plant, in the dirt. Get one of his socks. Make sure it's a sock that he's worn. He said, so when he take his sock off, you take that sock, one of those socks, or both of them, and bury it down in the dirt of that plant. And he'll never be able to walk away from you. He'll never be able to leave you. Okay, so that's why people got to stay prayed up, because I mean, you have to reap what you sow. You cannot will people to do what you want them to do. That's evil. Like if I had to go get a damn plant to keep a man from leaving me, every time I looked at myself in the mirror, I want to throw up. Okay, I feel bad about myself knowing a man with me because I got a root on it. I don't want nobody to do nothing they don't want to do. Get on away from me so I can give me another man. Okay. That's how I feel about it. But unfortunately, that is the type of stuff that's going on. People are real evil now. Okay. They want you to do exactly what they want you to do. And if they can't get you to do it, they're gonna find a way to try to make you do it. That's why you have to deal with people with stable minds. Okay. Yeah. But anyways, shout out to Finesse. Finesse, uh get into real estate, a trucking company. um Learn the business for yourself. Don't let nobody come to you. And I ain't trying to tell them what to do, but I, it's best to learn stuff for yourself. I don't like for people to come to me and say, yeah, I got this idea, and if you could put some money in on it, it's gonna give you a real good return. I don't do business like that. If I go and learn a business for myself. If I set my eyes on something, I go and learn it for myself, and then I save my own money up and figure out how I can get in it, and leave all the Negroes out. Because normally when you start going into business with different folks, somebody gonna come up short because folks ain't right. Okay. So when my dad died, that was it. Okay. Cause see, I ain't mind going in business with my dad, because my dad he was the investor. He was the investor, and I did the research. He would tell me, you do the research. If you do the research and you figure it out, I'll invest in it. I did the work, he did the research. He paid the money. Okay. Anyway, y'all, I want to talk about right quick. We're gonna get back to Finesse two times. I hope Finesse two times take the advice on that. Okay. Okay. So the rap ain't going the way he wants it to go at this point. So what you need to do until you can redeem yourself, get yourself clean, invest in real estate. Real estate and land is where it's at. The land bank in Memphis, Finesse. You ought to own all the damn land in Memphis. Okay. But they got that mind. I hate Memphis. Okay. Finesse, you need to buy you some damn land. Go to the land bank and buy you some land. Okay. You got the money. Do it. You should own wherever it was that you lived at. You ought to own a lot of that land. Okay. And so people get to talking about why, and the price is starting to go back down. And I'm gonna get me some this time. Okay. Because this is why they are always building, especially in Memphis. You might think the little lot is nothing now, but you don't know if some developers are gonna come through and go, you know what, that land that's empty right there, we can put some duplexes up right there. You ain't putting it up if it's mine without paying me. So what they gonna do is, we got to see who owns this land right here. Oh, so Tamara owns that land. A lady named Tamara. Okay, so they had their people to reach out. what can I give you? They looking to see I ain't paid but $2,000 for the all. I ain't paid for $2,000 for the lot. I only own the lot, but they need. I might not own the lot next to it, but they need all of it. Okay, the lot next to it, they need the whole street, and I own a lot on that street. So I guess if you ain't business orientated, you might sell the land to the people. I got double. You paid 2,000. You glad you getting 4,000. They get ready to build complexes and make millions. You got me fucked up. Okay. So this how we're gonna do it. You can't build your duplexes. You need the whole thing. I know that my little lot that I paid $2,000 for, okay. I know that you need it. So I ain't gonna sell it to you though, but I rent it to you. And guess what? They gonna pay me every month. We always buy valuable stuff and want to sell it. And then let everybody, the white man beat me. That white man ain't beat you. You can't be mad at him because he know business and you don't. Why would I sell my land? He get ready to make millions. I want some of it. He can't build it unless I sell it to him. And I'm going to rent it to him. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm not selling my land. I'm going to rent it. I paid $2,000. You want to put your duplexes? You need the whole street. I own a lot. You going to pay me $2,000 a month. And guess what? He going to do it because he going to make 100 times that, but he need that land anyways, and he gonna pay me my $2,000 a month. You have to learn business. And so I get so tired of our community talking about how the white mans is like to beat us. Well, you can't get mad at somebody because they know business. My dad always taught me when we first started doing business together, I get mad at people, want to cuss them out, because I felt like they was trying to insult my intelligence, trying to get business from me for a little bit of nothing, services for a little bit of nothing. My dad said, you always crying and fussing and pissing and moaning and going on. He said, you are the one that's in control. You gonna have to stop doing that. He said, let me tell you something. In business, their job is to try and get as much as they can from you for a little bit of nothing. He said, you got the easiest job. Your job is always just to make sure that they don't. That's all you got to do. You make the decision. You don't allow it. But see, I would get mad the audacity of this person to think that they can come in here and lowball me like that. That's what they're supposed to do. You think they want to come and pay the most? That's why when you let them know it's non-negotiable. Well, I'm gonna go look at other prices. Okay, they don't offer what I offer. I know you coming back, and they do, and they pay. Okay, that's why it's good to know the market. Like when I was doing private work, I knew I was valuable. It wasn't, they ain't have a lot of black girls that could go into places that I could go into and be incognito. I could walk right into a club. We need a black girl that could go in a club, and the white girls couldn't go in there. They was gonna think they was the police instantly. Well, we want to pay $65 an hour. Well, you're gonna have to find you somebody else. I ain't going in nothing for no $65 an hour. I'm not leaving my house. Well, what you need? My $3,500 deposit. Well, what if you get what you need before time? That's the minimum. I ain't going nowhere without my $3,500. I don't care if you don't get what you need for your case. And guess what? I got my money. I knew my value. The few black girls they had, they were scared to go up in some of them clubs that I went and set up in. Okay, they weren't going in some of them damn neighborhoods, sitting out on somebody's street. And they always wanted to send me to North Memphis. I went. And I just be sitting there. What you doing out here, ma'am? You just sitting here. We just came. I'm trying to. Well, I ain't gonna tell y'all what I ain't gonna get into that because y'all don't need to know that. Okay. All right. But the people in North Memphis didn't bother me. Okay, because they probably thought I was the police, so they didn't bother me. But my point is, they couldn't send no white investigator over in those neighborhoods, and I wasn't gonna let them lowball me. I knew my worth. Okay. You can't get mad at people because they try to lowball you. You have to know your worth and go on about your business. Okay. Because as soon as you start negotiating, you take your value down. I'd rather not have your business going on about your business. Okay. When them defense attorneys, like I love doing work for like Leslie Ballin and all them. They rich attorneys. They pay good. They weren't going over in Orange Mountain to talk to them folks. They weren't gonna send no white investigator over there to talk to them folks over in those areas because they didn't want to go in their houses and sit and talk to them. But guess who did? They knew I was gonna help them to get them what they need, to help to try to get them cases thrown out or get that, so they can negotiate and get the time negotiated to a lower amount of time. You think I was gonna let them pay me a few $100s? Hell no. I don't care if they lost their case. If you don't pay me right. Even with them infidelity cases, when I was sitting out there, I'm sitting out watching your husband sitting outside of a damn motel all night, waiting for your husband to come out, and you think you ain't gonna pay me my $4,000? I don't care if he don't come home. If you don't pay me my money, and I got paid my money. So you can't get mad at other people because they do business grimy, because they're going to always try to get over on you. You just got to make sure you get yours. And I don't think Finesse has been able to digest that. I cries. I'm a nice person. I am, but I handles business. Okay? And my fangs come out when they need to, because I understand that most people are wolves. Okay? And if you go looking like a steak, they gonna eat you up. Okay? They gonna eat you up. Because they are wolves when it comes to money and business. And you got to understand, it ain't nothing negotiable. Because I know my worth. You think I'm gonna go get all that training just to give it away for somebody else to benefit? And they, hell no. Okay. Defense attorneys and stuff making $500 and $600 an hour, and they thought that they weren't gonna pay me my 35. And when their retainers ran out, because if you want to call and talk to me, I'm gonna charge you. I'm subtracting from their retainers. And when it ran out, if they wanted to keep me on, they was gonna pay me 35 more. Okay. And they getting paid $500 and $600, $1,000 an hour, and they sending me into these bad neighborhoods, and I'm a damn woman. I'm using my damn charm to get their cases and stuff thrown out. Hell no. Okay. So Finesse is going to have to get over. He made that bad decision because he didn't know business, right? He should have known it. So now what he got to do is he needs to take his money and invest in something else that's going to keep him afloat. Real estate and land always do. Get him a trucking company. That's becoming oversaturated, child. Um, and then go learn some business and then go renegotiate later on if he can. And then be independent or something. But he ain't gonna be right if he gonna stay on drugs. Cause he's not gonna be stable enough. Okay. What's up, Memphis 10? He said Mr. 901 Southside. Okay, you got a new name. Shout out to Memphis 10. Anyways, I ain't trying to be hard on finesse. I just get to thinking about, like, you have to get to a point where you cannot blame people for for doing what they do. Okay. And then you can't have so much pride, because I'm gonna tell you something. That work and stuff started to fluctuate with their private investigator stuff, because a lot of lawyers, they ain't making no money no more. So they didn't have the money to pay private investigators anymore. They try to work their workers half to death. They legal secretaries and shit. But they can't do what a private investigator do. So you cannot have pride. When it got real, real low, guess what I did? I went and got me a damn job. That's what you have to do. I was not getting ready to negotiate with no broke ass lawyer. He barely holding on. You think you're gonna make me barely hold on? No, I took my skills and I went corporate. Okay. And I don't feel no shame about it. Period. So when things are not where they should be in one area, you got to know when to pick up and go somewhere else. And Finesse needs to focus on something else until he get his mind right. In the rap, he shouldn't give up rap, because he's talented. But I don't believe that rap money is what it was. So he needs to go and learn the business and not trust nobody to tell him the business. That's what go on with a lot of these celebrities. They get messed up. They don't want to learn nothing. They want somebody else to learn it for them and tell them. That's what they mess up at, because they're gonna always get cheated. Learn the shit for yourself. Okay. And then start looking at how you could dabble your feet in the water. And when you start talking to people, you'll know whether they trying to bamboozle you or not, because you would already have learned the shit for yourself. Okay. Anyway, y'all know the Lion King star was unalived by her boyfriend. Okay. She was unalived by her boyfriend. Now, y'all, it's so many women starting to lose their life. Their boyfriends are unaliving them. I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know what's going on. People are trying to say that it's mental illness. It could be, but I think it's just being low down. I think it's just being low down. Like, folks don't have any discipline. If I get mad at you, you're gonna go. I'm helping a family right now that their mother was unalive. Well, it's not in Memphis. Okay, it didn't happen in Memphis. As a matter of fact, y'all know I'm starting my TV show back up. As it relates to helping families, I think I'm gonna work on the outside of Memphis for a while. I think I'm gonna just work on the outside of Memphis. Okay. I'm talking about, airing their stuff. But anyways, I was thinking about something. I said that for a reason, because I was thinking about something. But yeah, I was thinking about my cousin. My cousin's boyfriend was killed. Her kid's father was killed. Um, he was killed in North Memphis. Okay. I got a clip of it was real draining to me because I actually did a story on. I had her over there, and after we did the show, her dad, which is my dad's brother, called me. He was mad as hell, and you know, it happened in North Memphis. Okay, somebody knocked on the door, and when he opened it, they shot him, and he probably knew who he was. Who he I think she kind of know who it was too, but she say she didn't. But anyways, I'm gonna just do shows outside, cold cases and stuff. It'll be on the outskirts of Memphis from now on. Anyways, y'all know I be having all types of stuff going through my brain. But let me pull this up, y'all. Because if you know somebody did something, hell, you need to be trying to be at the police and not over there with me talking about you don't know. Okay, you guys. She was a star in The Lion King. I want to show y'all this, okay? It says a former child actress who starred in The Lion King on Broadway has died at age 26. Imani Dia Smith was found unalive with multiple stab wounds at a residence in Edison, New Jersey on Sunday, December 21st. Imani's 3-year-old son was in the home, but he was not harmed. Her boyfriend, Jordan D. Jackson Small, 35, was arrested on December 23rd and charged with her unaliving, according to Edison Police Chief. Jordan is charged with first-degree murder, second-degree endangering the welfare of a child, third-degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and fourth-degree unlawful possession of a weapon, prosecutors say. Look at her. She was cute as a button. Imani's mother, Monique, works as a hairdresser for Broadway, TV, and film productions. Monique's IMBD page shows she worked on television shows as a hairstylist since 2010. Imani's family announced her death in a GoFundMe page summary. She leaves behind a 3-year-old son, her parents, her 2 younger siblings, and an extended family, friends, and community who loved her so much. Imani had her whole life ahead of her. She was vivacious, loving, and fiercely talented, a true triple threat performer. She most notably played the role of young Nyla on Broadway in Disney's Lion King, an experience that reflected the joy, creativity, and light she put into the world. Kira says money raised will go towards funeral expenses and scene makeup trauma therapy for her family, legal and administrative costs related to the criminal proceedings in her death, and care for Imani's son. Y'all, this has been happening so much where women have been losing their lives. Okay, domestic violence is definitely like out of control. I mean, and it goes both ways, right? Because I did a story earlier this year of a girl from down in Mississippi. Her husband was trying to leave the home. She wanted him to stay. And so as a young couple, her mother was there instigating everything, and he had called for somebody to come and get him. She thought that he was getting ready to go be with another woman. Once that when that car pulled up to pick him up, it was one of his friends or male relatives. She could not handle him leaving that house. She shot him right there in front of her kids, in front of their kids. Is so many people that are emotionally unstable because they want what they want. They cannot take the idea of a person not wanting you no more. Sometimes it's got something to do with you. Sometimes it's got everything to do with the person just deciding, I don't want this no more. I mean, it may hurt you, but people can have a right to change their minds about not wanting to be with you no more. They may be going through something. Hey, look, I don't want this no more. Hey, you supposed to let it burn. If you need to go get you some counseling, do that. But people are not doing that. Unfortunately, they are killing people right in front of their children. This is the second time that a woman was killed, and they had there was a child in the house. Because I was reading the other day of a woman was killed, and her 2-year-old child was left there in the house. And when they found the child had been there what, for a couple days, you know, laying up under the mama, okay, trying to play with the mama and all of that. That's got to be trauma. That's so sad. A 2-year-old baby not knowing what's going on, your mother laying there dead for a couple days, and you trying to get her up, laying on top of her, and while your mother is there dead. And when these men do that, oftentimes these are their very own children. They got to know if their kids are there in the house, they're going to wake up at some point looking for their mother. So it is so sad. That's why when they're unstable, child, I tell, look at the eyes. You can tell when they're crazy. Look at them eyes. Them crazy eyes tell everything. When they are emotionally unstable, I know as women we try to be fixers, but child, you ain't no therapist. Let them go on and see some type. Tell them the best you could do is recommend some type of doctor to them. And if it's a woman too, okay, because a lot of these women are unstable. They don't know how to accept rejection anymore. But see, I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on with a lot of these women. That's why these men have to be careful. They don't take it out on the men all of the time. Sometimes these men don't let these other women know when they decide to move on, or they start creeping or whatever, that they got some type of other situation going on. They go and kill the other woman. He'll be with me and she dead. Crazy. Okay, like in that Romika Meek story in Chicago. I've been following that closely. I'm gonna do a video on that because it's been a lot of stuff that has transpired in that case. Okay, so I think I mean, you can never predict anything, but I remember I get to thinking about. I was talking to this guy and I liked him too, but he had crazy eyes. He was handsome, but he had crazy eyes. I remember I was talking to him about that. He said, yeah, because he was looking at me with them crazy eyes. Yeah, because you don't never know what's going on in their mind. You don't never know what's going on in a person's mind. You don't never know what they think. And I was looking at him. I was like, Lord, I hope he ain't looking at me thinking of talking about killing me, because I be talking a lot of shit. Okay. Because I would say, but I didn't talk a lot of shit to him, and I ain't no damn fool. He had them crazy eyes. I would talk a little bit, but not a whole lot. Okay, because he would just stare at me. Um, but yeah, in all honesty, be careful about um, use discernment and wisdom. And sometimes they don't have crazy eyes. They just be crazy, no type of self-control. If you get to know them more, um, that's why I don't like texting. I don't. I don't even deal with guys that like to text. I'm old fashioned anyways. I don't text. You send me a text message, and I'm not a texting woman. You're not getting no text back. If I text you, it'll be a couple words. I don't have text relationships. Hell, I'm a grown ass woman. If you can't call me and I can't listen to your emotions and feel your emotions, because see, texting, you don't get emotionally connected. So that's kind of what people like to do. I can't stand no old Negro that do that either. Okay, old and rusty talking about texting. You must got a wife or something over there. You don't want to talk? Well, then we can't. We don't need to be in contact. Okay. I like to hear the emotions of a person, the sound of their voice. I don't like no misunderstandings. Right. It could be misunderstandings. So if you want to have a texting relationship, I got something for you. I ain't gonna text you back. Did you see my text? I texted you, you didn't see it. Because see, I done told you I don't like to text. Texting is for business. I only do that when I'm trying to keep documentation or something. You ain't supposed to be somebody that's trying to be personal with me and you want to constantly text. So I ain't see your text. It didn't come through. I told you I don't text. After a while, I'm not gonna answer your calls no more. Okay. When you do call, I'm not gonna answer you. You ain't nobody I want to be with. Okay. So get to know the person. Because if you get to talking to them, you'll see what triggers them, how they sound when you talk about certain things. You hear the emotions in their voice. A lot of times you can hear the sincerity. People have a lot to hide now. And you really don't get to know the person. How long? Well, we've been talking for a year. Well, how did he ask? Well, when he was texting me, you ain't never even talked to him but 5 times. You didn't know him. You didn't know if he was over there throwing pots and pans and shit when he got mad at you because you was texting. That's right. Texting ain't talking. Okay? Texting ain't talking. That's why I don't answer them. I tell guys that right off, I don't like texting. Most guys don't like talking. We're not compatible. I don't like talking when we ain't compatible because you like talking to somebody that you really want to talk to. Okay? Because I'm not texting. Anyways, y'all, so be careful about that. Now, I want to move on to the importance of voting, okay? And I was thinking about that, how a lot of people don't vote, okay? And what a lot of people don't know is in this last election, if you didn't get out and vote, they remove your name from the voting list. So you need to go to So what you need to do is you need to go to your hold on one second, you all. I'm trying to exit that. Your election commission to get your name put back on the list to vote. Right? To get your name put back on the list to vote. I wanted to show y'all something because I love looking finding videos and stuff. I like visual stuff and I like to show that. I think oftentimes we forget about the importance of voting and what our ancestors and stuff went through to ensure that we had that right. Okay?
Culmination of a long struggle for voting rights that triggers a national outcry. Bloody Sunday is beamed across the nation and across the world as the forces in Alabama try to turn back the idea that Black people wanted to participate in the political process.
Now we had the right to march from Selma to Montgomery and to be protected. The governor, the sheriff department, and others would not interfere.
The march starts in Selma, crosses the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and makes it to 54 miles up through Lowndes County.
Down Highway 80.
Y'all, that was a long way to walk. Edmund Pettus Bridge. We see how far they say it was, and this is what they did, because they was thinking about the future, not just for them, because these were older. Some of these were older people that was out there. They wanted to vote, but they was thinking about the future also of our people.
all the way to Montgomery. And off time we would stop to rest. Some brought food. It meant that some people were so determined to assist us.
I was 11 years old in the 6th grade, and my 6th grade class, we cleaned up at the campsite. My class was part of the cleanup crew. They camped out overnight for 4 different nights. They had a crew that would dismantle the tents, pack them up and move them up to the next campsite. They had a crew that did the same thing with the kitchen, the food, utensils and all that.
Also, there were whites who were determined to holler and discourage those persons who were white who were participating in the march.
But during the course of this campaign, even before the march is finished, Lyndon Baines Johnson takes to the airwaves before a joint session of Congress and announces that he's going to put before Congress a voting rights bill.
It was a great feeling of accomplishment, knowing that we had done something that we felt would be beneficial to all persons, regardless of their color, whether they were black, white, red, or yellow.
Okay, yeah, I know I have to stop you sometimes. And I wanted to show that also because there were a lot of white people that was involved in the civil rights movement that got involved to help. And I think it's important to talk about that because those spies and when I mean to help the movement. There were a lot of white people that was there that was definitely able to do things to help the movement that a lot of black people could not do to in the movement. So there were a lot of whites that was definitely beneficial. So I think it's important to know that all white people during that time was not evil. They were not necessarily a part of the problem because all white people were not brought up to be racist. Let's be honest about that. And even if they were, they a lot of them deviated from what they was taught, right? Because they didn't think that it was right.
You felt that something great was being accomplished. You just felt that there was an enormous happiness and an enormous joy that you had finally arrived, that even though all those things had gone against you, you was finally there.
Moving down Dexter Avenue in Montgomery, to the very right marched Jose Williams, holding his daughter. I marched next to him. Mrs. King marched next to me. Dr. King marched next to his wife. Dr. Ralph Bunch, the first African-American Nobel Peace Prize winner, marched next to him. And to his right marched Mrs. Abernathy. To her right marched her husband, Ralph Abernathy. And to his right marched John Lewis, who today is United States Congressman from Georgia. And to his right marched A. Philip Randolph, on the way to the Capitol to hear Dr. King make that speech that day.
It culminates with Martin Luther King's iconic speech at the steps of the state capitol, where he asks, "How long, not long?"
I sat on that platform, looked out over that sea of humanity. I don't know how many thousand people were there, but I had a feeling
Look at how
of great
nice they
triumph and
dressed.
victory. But now, all persons, regardless of their color, would have a right to participate in the political process that governs their lives.
Yeah, this is why voting is so important. And I think that we forget about it. You know, what they do is when they want to program the minds, especially of the people, of the masses, they get interns that work um, in a lot of these political offices and stuff. And they get them to put out certain things over the internet, such as, well, I'm not going to vote because my vote don't count. And it kind of spread like wildfire. Well, a lot of people take on that energy. Well, my vote is not going to count anyways. Yes, it does. And my dad told me, he was like, what they want for black people to do is to stay out of politics. And so that's why they get black people, certain black folks that can be bought out within they're part of that agenda. unfortunately, a lot of blacks can be bought out. A lot of people of any race can be bought out. Um, and they make them famous, and they spread an agenda. And what I've been hearing a lot of these celebrities say is, well, I ain't into politics. I leave the politics to the politicians. And my dad always said to me, well, Gal, they never want you to get involved in politics. They don't want you to learn politics, because they know whoever controls the politics controls the money. Okay. Why do you think that the black community is so impoverished? Because I feel like we don't get into politics as we should, and we feel like being involved is putting a black face in the place, and then we don't watch them when they are in the place. And so unfortunately, everybody that looks like you is not necessarily for you. Okay. And so that's why I think it is important that we should remember why we should be voting, to remember to get out and vote. If nothing else, think about how they march from one city to another. And it made me feel good to hear the young man say, he was a part of this type of team. They understood what it took to keep that movement going. Everybody played their part. Hey, everybody can't be in front. I think the issue with a lot of us now is that even with Dr. King being the face of the movement, he still had a lot of people with knives in his back. But there were everybody played their part, because it takes everybody playing a part to make a movement successful. Everybody can't be in the front. And so I think once we get past that, because we're trying to come together for a common goal. I don't care who's in the front. Okay. I wouldn't care if I was the cook. If we're coming together for a common goal, as long as we reach the destination that we're trying to reach, everybody benefits. And I think that in this day and time, people have forgotten about that. We're just trying to reach a common goal. I don't care who's in the front, because everybody's going to get the same anyways, right? And so I think that's something that we have to go back to if we're going to be progressive and proactive in our community. And then I think that's when things will start to change. And voting is so important. Voting is so important. As soon as we take control of the voting and stop, even when you go get registered, you exercise your right and vet whoever it is you're voting for, right? Not just somebody that knows how to pander to the people, right? Somebody who's strong enough to do what they're supposed to do for the people, right? Learn a little bit about politics to see who it is that a lot of these people that you're voting for go pull their financial records to see who they're getting their money from. Because if they're getting big money from certain people, guess what's going to happen when they get into office, right? They're going to have to, they're already bought and paid for as it relates to those people. So that's why I say you have to raise up somebody by the people, for the people. And when I say that, by the people, for the people, okay, for the people, by the people, or whatever, this is somebody that the community has supported. They have not taken any money from big businesses or anything like that, and they owe nobody except for the people that have put them into office, right? And so, in other words, we have to vet. That's why when I see somebody who is running for office and I believe in them, I start donating and stuff to their campaign, because I understand in order for people to know who they are, they have to buy signs. They have to send out mailing cards. They have to pay people to work with them, right? And so you have to support those people that's going to get into office, even if it's $1, $5, or whatever, that's going to take those funds that comes into your community and not find a way to get it back in their pockets, but to actually put it into the communities that they're supposed to be in. Yeah, this is where we've kind of been I guess messing up at, is we feel like, well, we leave the politics to the politicians. No, we don't leave the politics to the politicians, not when we're living in these neighborhoods, not when we're directly affected by who the politician is. So we need to get into politics. We vote them in and they work for us. And so we don't just leave them to make decisions. We're supposed to do audits and stuff to make sure that they're doing what we need them to do. We're supposed to already have an agenda of what we need them to do, and then we do audits on them. We choose somebody to go to the office every 6 months to see what kind of progress have they made on what they promised us they would do for our community when we elected them. And if they ain't did that by the time their 4 years is up, some of them have 2 years, then it ain't nothing personal. You just ain't gonna be reelected. You go on back. I wish you the best, but you ain't the person for the job because we gave you 4 years. You said that you could do it. It ain't nothing personal. We think you're a good man or a good woman, but you just can't be reelected. Okay. And if they have done, we look at the list and they've done at least most of what they said, then we make sure we get behind them again when the 4 years come for them to be put back into office so that they can finish the agenda. Okay. Because we have an issue, we have it bad about being too forgiving. If they ain't do nothing the first 4 years, hell, they ain't gonna do nothing the last 4. They gonna really run amok because most offices you only can run twice. So they don't need to come and slob your babies and stuff down and kiss your ass for you to vote for them again. They're gonna do exactly what they want to do and give you their ass to kiss. And so the difference in our communities and other communities is that, hey, there are checks and balances in other communities. They don't keep voting for people that don't do a damn thing for them. And when they get their asses up in them offices and they don't do what they're supposed to do, there are repercussions behind it. There ain't no repercussions for constantly messing over Black people because, number one, we don't pay attention. We don't learn politics and we're too flattered. Because it ought to be an insult if somebody has been in office and we ain't seen them once we elected them and they bring their asses back after when it's time to be reelected and they want your vote. Okay? That's an insult. Ain't nothing in your community changed. They ain't put nothing in your community, but all of a sudden, when they need your vote and it's election season, they're giving out hot dogs and gloves and hats and shit like that because they want it to be on your brain that they went to the dollar store and got you a glove. Okay, when there have been millions of dollars to come in that's supposed to be distributed out your district and they ain't did shit. Okay, but found a way to funnel the money back to them up under the guise of one of their relatives or friends nonprofit organization. Okay, and so that's why we have to be vigilant because it's $1 billion business by constantly getting over on Black people. Okay, it is. So we can't vote based on, well, hey, I like the way she speak. What is her record? Okay, because somebody that everybody like, they ain't doing it right. It's something they ain't doing because everybody ain't supposed to like you. Because when you're doing right, you're gonna step on some toes. And when you try, at least when you're trying to do it fair, because it's gonna always be somebody that want it all. And if they can't sway you, they can't pay you off, you're gonna step on some toes. So somebody that everybody likes bears watching. Okay. And so I want to encourage us to start back voting. Make sure that you're registered to vote. Okay. It's 11:11 now. Is it 11:11? Hold on, y'all. Yeah, who is these people? So we just gotta, like I said, we gotta do better as it relates to that. And once we start honing in on the politics, y'all gonna see our communities change. I want to show y'all something else before I get off. Y'all, somebody done sent something to my cash app requesting some money. Talking about they about to be evicted. I don't know why people like to play. I'm about to be evicted too. I need somebody to send me some money. Shoot. All this rent make my head hurt. And it ain't no house. It ought to be a sin to be paying the amount of rent that I'm paying. Let's see. Let me see something. I'm trying to see who this is. Yeah, I'm gonna show y'all something else, y'all. Um, hold on. You all hit the like button for me, okay? Make sure you guys please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. I want to show you all something else. Give me a moment. Yeah, I am. I miss my Fruity Pop. I was sick of her, but I miss her. Oh, okay. Hold on, y'all. Let me see something. Hold on, y'all. Give me a minute. Hey, Kawana. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have to look at this later. Anyway, y'all. Let's see, I've been on here an hour and 35 minutes. I think I'm gonna get off. Cause this is another video I want to do before I oh, my stomach growl. This is another video I want to do before I go to bed. I want to talk about the Romika Meeks situation. And so I want to do another story. I want to do another show before I go to bed tonight and upload the video. Not another show, but another video. Okay. Anyways, you guys, I appreciate y'all jumping on here with me tonight. I don't know what's going on with. I'm trying to see something. I really don't need to get off because I'm not really ready to get off. Because we could talk about some more stuff. But I'm trying to see something right quick. Okay, it's about damn time. Child, let me see what's going on here. Hmm. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to see something. Hold on, give me a moment. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I'm back. I'm trying to see something. I'm trying to call one of my daughters or something. Yeah, hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button. We'll look at some more stuff. Yeah, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe for me. I don't never use my Cash App. Okay. Hey. Okay, you all. Listen, guys, I'm gonna get off because I'm trying to figure something out. And I hate to have y'all waiting. But listen, I appreciate you all getting on tonight. Make sure you guys please like, share, and subscribe, okay? I love you guys. I'll talk with you later.